Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
I'm Jakari Jackson, joined in studio by Joe Biggs, and we're here to talk about something that's very controversial, I guess, in nature, because we've seen the reports since last year talking about ISIS right over the Mexican border. Joe, you went down there yourself to investigate, but they're still saying, many of the mainstream outlets, that no, ISIS is not there. We have no proof this exists, and now we're hearing something to the contrary.
Well, you know, this past weekend in Garland, Texas, there was the attack at the Draw the Prophet event that happened. A few months prior to this, you and I both went up to the Stand with the Prophet event in Garland, Texas, at the exact same arena where that was handled. And when I heard reports a few weeks later after that event, that first event, that Pamela Geller would be having this, I kind of had a figure in the back, you know, an idea in the back of my head that something was going to happen. You know, and like you said, I've gone down to El Paso myself to go and investigate, to find these ISIS bases. And we took a lot of flack for that. Like, oh, you know, your Infowars is saying that ISIS is down there. No, what happened was Judicial did a report saying that they had intel from within the Mexican government that they were down there. And as reporters, we did what we're supposed to do. We went and investigated. You know, that place in Anapra and Juarez are areas that I could definitely see ISIS operating in. And the fact that the FBI even wanted to come and speak to me on it says a lot. You know, the intel says that coyotes engaged in human smuggling and working for Juarez cartels helped move ISIS terrorists through the desert and across the border between Santa Teresa and Sunland Park. And that's the area where Josh Owens and I both went. But now we have this new article out by Gateway Pundit, and it says ISIS posts warnings. We have 71 trained soldiers in 15 states. Now, if you look on down in the article towards the bottom, it names Virginia, Maryland, Illinois, California, and Michigan as the states that are targets. And it got me thinking, why would they pick these places? Virginia has, you know, the Pentagon, NSA, CIA, all these different alphabet agencies that are stationed in Virginia. So that makes sense that that's an area for a target.
Right.
But then you have Maryland, Illinois, and California. They have the strictest gun laws. They're in the top 10 states with the most strictest gun laws in the country.
Which means they can move around and not have to worry about too much flack from the citizenry.
Yeah, just like in Texas. You know, in Texas, they came here, Texas 1, ISIS 0. They got gunned down pretty quick.
And on that point, Joe, to segue a little bit and talk about this most recent incident, we see the ISIS sympathizers coming out and saying that these guys gave their lives for their mission, saying that they pretty much went up there just to be killed. Do you believe that they went out there just to sacrifice themselves?
No, I mean, I believe their target was Pamela Geller. I mean, they even named that in this Gateway Pundit article. They will kill her and anyone who stands in their way and tries to shield the bullets from there. And they have this whole thing saying, hey, to our brothers and sisters, you know, we'll pray to Allah to guide your bullets, terrify your enemies, and help establish you in the land. So it's a credible threat. You know, we already know that, obviously, the CIA helps fund these guys.
Just airdropping grenades and such.
Yeah, I mean, I know guys in the Air Force who take their job pretty seriously. I mean, over that. They're not going to accidentally drop something unless they were given the coordinates, told and lied to that, hey, these are where the rebels are. This isn't ISIS, when in fact they were actually coordinates to an ISIS camp to help fund these guys, to help give them ammunition and weaponry to fight, kill Christians, behead people. I mean, this is out of control, and now we have this list coming out. You know, and the other state is Michigan as well that we have listed so far. Well, in Dearborn, Michigan, it has about 95,000 residents. 30% of them are Arab Americans. So there's a huge Muslim population in Dearborn, much like in Garland.
Yes.
So this is what, I mean, when you look at this and you put it all together, it makes sense. And I'm kind of interested to see what other states will come out as being listed. Are they going to be part of this ISIS targeting gun control states type agenda? Is that what's happening here?
When we talk about these targets, they only list a few, I guess, states. But, you know, what type of facilities or targets do you foresee them going after? Are they going to target people in media? Are they going to target government facilities? Do you have any inclination as to what that may be?
I mean, I think in the areas where there's strict gun laws, they're going to go after some kind of a mass event. They want a mass casualty. They want somewhere where there's going to be a lot of people who aren't able to fight back. And in these states, like Maryland, we were just in Baltimore, they have very strict gun laws. Illinois, you have Chicago, which clamps down big time. You know, we went there. That's where we covered the fact that there was the black site. All these areas where there's a low amount of guns and more police have guns in all these areas, that's where you have these terrorist attacks happen overseas in those areas. And that's why it would make sense that these would be states that would be picked on top of like a high value target area like Virginia, which houses all those alphabet agencies.
Yes, and as you were already talking about earlier, talking about states that have a very pro-gun stance, Texas being one of them. They come out here to Texas, they get gunned down. I'm pretty sure they're going to try to move to some other place, a city like Chicago, a city like Baltimore, where we went around to do that Walmart report, and we could not find ammunition within the city limits. They do not sell ammunition within the city limits. So it seems, likely that they'd pick a softer target, someplace like that, where they have a pretty good inclination that most of the citizens aren't going to be packing any heat.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you come into Texas. I mean, I myself, I'm driving around on my motorcycle with a Mossberg 500 strapped on my back.
I've seen them do it.
So I'm not going to be a soft target whatsoever. Many people who live in these states like Texas that have the ability to protect themselves, we're not weak targets. Just think about it. Banks that get robbed, they usually go after someone who has like a 90-year-old security guard who can barely hold his hand straight. They know they're not going to have any flack when they go in. So that's why it's important that we as Americans are able to carry weapons. It's our right to be able to protect ourselves, our family, our property, especially when you now have ISIS here in America, and they're saying they've got them in 15 states.
Yeah, and we talk about, well, the common argument we hear, Joe, is that, if there is some big threat, somebody's going to come and protect us from it. We think about one of the more recent attacks on the NSA, the guys, ramming the gate and so forth. The NSA had no idea that these, drag queens or whatever they were coming to the facility to wreak havoc. It's situations like that. And it's not even so much a knock on our security apparatus. It's not a knock on the police. The police are reactionary. For something to happen, for the officer to show up to your house, somebody has to call, hey, there's an incident going on over at Joe Biggs' house. Can you go show up? And they show up hopefully in like 2 minutes. But even then, they don't know exactly what the situation is. So as you're saying, you need to have the right and be properly armed to defend yourself from whatever that threat may be.
Yeah, people think we're crazy because we want to, tote guns around. No, I don't get high off of having a gun. I don't get any kind of power trip from it. It's more for the fact that if I do come across a situation, or if I see someone being attacked and brutally beaten almost to death, that I can actually like pull the gun and go, hey, stop. No one's going to continue to do that when they see that. They're going to stop and slow it down. And if ISIS comes into a store or a Walmart or wherever and opens up gunfire, I would like to know that the people around me have that ability to protect themselves and me as well, or whatever that case may be. Don't you?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And going back to the Stand with the Prophet rally we went to earlier this year, the majority of the people we met there were very polite, peaceful people. We talked to the Muslims who were outside. Obviously, we wanted to talk to some of the speakers, but that wasn't allowed because, they didn't let us that far into the event. But, the people we had a chance to speak to on the outside, they were very polite. The first thing they said, we do not support Charlie Hebdo. We do not support the attacks of Boko Haram and some of these other groups. So I want to be very clear to our viewers, when we talk about these extremists, we are talking about extremists. We're not talking about the Muslim community.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know a lot of people who are Muslims who are very peaceful, great family, men, women, and just want to work and live in a free society and be able to practice their religion. Just like I want to be able to be Christian. I want to be able to have guns. I want to be able to have the Constitution and live by that. That's fine. That's great. That's what we're all about here. It's just when the government tries to step in and say we can't protect ourselves, when we have DHS going out and buying up all the ammo, and when the DHS is using these no hesitation targets to practice and shoot pregnant women and children, that's why we have a problem. That's why people are upset with the whole Jade Helm thing. We don't have a trust in this administration right now, and it's all happening at once. We have ISIS in America. We've got Jade Helm around the corner. People are worried, and the biggest thing is a lot of people aren't going to be able to protect themselves.
Right. And since we're talking about Jade Helm, this is a good way to segue into the Alex piece we have coming up, because a lot of people ask, why are you guys so concerned about Jade Helm? Well, one of the reasons is we can go to these public hearings, we can see these PowerPoint presentations, and we saw Meade. Of course, we had a chance to meet Lieutenant Colonel Lastoria. And what they're telling us in one presentation doesn't exactly jive with the other. So let's go to this report, and we'll be back right after this break with more reports.
So see, they're lying to us. Their own Jade Helm handout says the things we've said, and then they tell the media it doesn't exist.
Are you going to use our local people to help with that?
So we're not training any type of law enforcement during this training exercise. It's not happening. The only coordination now that will take place is we're just letting them know, hey, here's what happened the last 24 hours. Here's what's happening next 24 hours.
Because there are times where we ask at times the law enforcement folks to do a traffic stop for us, to check our guys, to see why they're doing what they're doing, when they're doing it, and why they're doing it.
Then they came to Austin and Bastrop and said none of this was true, and they never said it, and laughed at us. Should we play the clip? We've got that cut out, right?
Now, we're talking about role players, and you mentioned the role players. I'm curious as to how you guys came about these role players.
As far as the role players go, they are going to be service members.
We can't do the exercise without the public's help. Things that we look for from that perspective is we look for people that are willing to be a role player.
The colonel, with this guy behind him, puppeting him, says, no, we're not going to be in the town.
RMTs are training that is conducted off of the federal reservation. It's done on private property.
And how will we know that it's special military officer in town to be trained, or will we know? Is this going to be covert?
Well, a lot of it, Your Honor, is going to take place on private land or private property. So that's going to really negate out a lot of that. But if somebody's
and they may be driving civilian vehicles throughout the area. So really, within the city limits, if you notice my guys, they're probably really doing something wrong.
I mean, it's just crazy. We should call it the lies of Jade Helm.
But suppose it should come up, who has the supreme voice? You?
It's the community. It is the community, sir. So if you guys tell us, hey, we have something going on and we don't need you guys, or we don't want you guys, sir, it's truly an invitation.
My name is Casey DeClue, and my question is more posed towards the Commissioner's Board. As citizens, since we are so disturbed by this training, is there anything that we can do to reverse this decision? Or,
we should be able to.
Can we vote? Do we need to protest? What can we do to have our voices heard?
Well, I think, Ms. Fu, your voices have been heard today, and we thank you for that. I can't say what the court would do about it.
A chemical spill contaminating the water supply in 9 West Virginia counties. What are the health effects of having these drugs in our drinking water?
It's forced medical treatment without the consent of residents.
My friends, water filtration is one of the most basic actions you can take to protect you and your family from the harmful toxins and heavy metals in your tap water.
On average, the county says it sprays with the glyphosate at least once a week.
Few filters cut out the glyphosate that is found in water supplies worldwide. Remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, hydrofluorosilicic acid, sodium hexafluorosilicate.
Fluoride, it is in tea, it's in coffee, it's in water, it's in bread, it's in toothpaste.
It is our responsibility to protect our families. The establishment's not going to do it. It's time to take action. It's time to filter our water.
Go to InfoWarsStore.com today, and for a limited time, use the promo code WATER20 and get 20% off all ProPure products. Again, that's InfoWarsStore.com, or give our crew a call at 888-253-3139.